Holy smokes.
Steve. That is no way to greet the Empress of Persidia. What is wrong with you?
Your Highness, remember all those rich guys you hired to govern the country and keep the people in check?
Yes.
And you remember how the Europeans have taken over the planet and are hurting our trade and therefore the rich guys can't make as much money?
What about that, Steve?
Well, they are splitting into two camps and one camp is actively speaking out against your rule. What are we going to when she is gone? Persindia. The greatest empire in existence. Oh, what's that? Korea is having some trouble and wants to sell Alaska? What a deal! Wait, was that deal controversial and are your oligarchs polarizing the country? Well, that's bad, but nothing bad has happened yet. Oh, looks like Chile and China just broke free. But that's no major issue. Just stabilize for a bit and you are going to be all right. Okay, listen here, you little...
Order. Order. Shut up. Okay, royalists, you got us into this war for what reason?
Well, Chairman, because I believe in our military might and in the threat that Mesopotamia poses to our empire.
Is that so? I believe the main threat to Persindia to be that traitor queen who fled to South Africa. I mean, what queen would betray her people like that?
Maybe you are right. Maybe Mesopotamia is not the greatest threat to us. Maybe the greatest threat are these adult babies who got rich selling our own people away and who care more for their golden toilets than for our nation.
Hey, my toilet is not made of gold. It's made of emerald.
You know, maybe South Africa is not so bad after all.
As said, Persindia was now in war. And it did surprisingly well against Mesopotamia and Arabia.
Okay. This war is going pretty good. I must say that I had my doubts, but you royalists have clearly proven to be capable leaders. Good for you.
Hang on, we might be winning this war, but our economy is in shambles.
Don't worry about that, guys. When we win, we can demand reparations to fix our economy.
Reparations? What reparations? The area is one big desert. What could they possibly give us? Sand?
South Africa it is.
And so it was. After losing all of their money, the oligarchs were done with the war, so they started another war. The oligarchs went to their provinces and declared the Indian Federation independent from the Persindian Empire. The royalist government immediately signs a ceasefire with the triangular powers and exit the war and double down on the war in India. The royalists would regroup the army and try to break the revolutionaries. Meanwhile, the rebels were forming an army of their own, most of which were mercenaries. Why? Because money. The royalists received word that the enemy's army was in the city of Panaji and sent their forces to crush them. When the royalists arrived, the time was ripe for the first major battle of the war. The siege of Panaji. Both sides saw heavy casualties, and Panaji was bombarded by the Royal Navy. Eventually, reinforcements arrived, creating a double siege. And after running out of supplies, the royalist army was forced to withdraw via their boats, freeing Panaji and granting the victory to the federal army.
Order, order. I have no clue what is going on, I have no clue why this is happening, and I have no clue why I'm still here. But I do know that you all need to get your stuff together. Now answer me. How did we lose?
Well, Ayuha, you see, I don't know, sir.
Well, there is only one thing we can do at this point, blockade them into submission. Are you stupid? They can just get their stuff through Tibet. Tibet hates us and they would not think twice about supporting the Indians. Do you remember why Tibet hates us? Because we didn't open up a trade route to them even though we promised to. And do you remember why we didn't open that route? Because it's straight across the tallest mountains on the planet. If we cannot cross those mountains, what makes you think Tibet can?
Hey India, you want some guns?
Boy, do I ever.
Now you might be thinking, but doesn't Pasindia still have colonies? And you would be right. So let's look at how they're doing. Unsurprising, Netherlands. Unsurprising. How about in Alaska? As expected. Well, what about Indonesia? Oh, well, that is new. It's actually stable here and now they are revolting. The Indonesians declared themselves a republic. And together they fought the Pasindian colonizers on their land. Wait, did I say together? Did I say they fought the Pasindians? My bad, I meant to say they fought each other. Pasindia saw that the colonies would keep themselves busy for some time, so decided to focus on the home front where a few more oligarchs joined the federation. No issue, just burn their land. The Indians try to take some of your land? Burn that too. Now, as you can imagine, this did not sit well with the people. And major protests broke out in the streets. But that is not to say that everything was well for India. Because remember all those soldiers that Pasindia used to have in Indonesia? Well, why bring them home if you can give them Indian blood? And so it was, the invasion of Odisha marked a turning point in the war, and if there was at any point a chance for a Pasindian victory in the war, it was at this point. The Royalists moved in and occupied major cities. And although the Royalists were very successful, there was a major issue. For the first time in history, a new type of warfare was used. The citizens had seen that the new federal government was a lot nicer to them than the monarchy had ever been, and so they decided to wage war behind enemy lines. An famous incident was when the Second Army of the East had set up camp outside the city. And when the farmers found their camp with all the soldiers tucked into their bed, they went a little nuts. The next day the Federal Army set up defenses around the city, expecting a major Pasindian force guarding the city. Yet when the farmers showed the Indians what had happened, they partied and took some food along for the trip. Bon appetit! Eventually, the Army of the East lost their Suhern holdings and were forced to stay in the north for the duration of the war. In the west, the Royalists had some more successes, taking a lot of land from India. Yet if you thought this war was not complicated enough, you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy. Because that world war we have been fighting? Yeah, that is over. And now the countries of the world are thirsty for more action. Volunteers from all over the world would volunteer for both sides, seeing it as a war between monarchism and republicanism. The Mesopotamian and Arabian governments would openly support the Indians whilst Rome send aid to help Pasindia. Most other governments would remain neutral, but war veterans would still volunteer individually. Many former Russian soldiers would volunteer for India, as an Ukrainian paramilitary group known as the Guards of the State would help out the Royalists. Now that both sides had fresh troops to fight with, they both decided to go for a big battle to determine the conclusion of this war. Both sides' generals wanted to form a big offensive in the center of the front to hopefully cut the enemy into two. The Royalists and Federalists would march towards each other, and they would meet at the greatest and bloodiest battle of the entire war. The Battle of Pali. The Federals heard that the Royalist army was crossing the nearby river, and decided to split their army into two. One half would hide inside the city and wait for the Royalists to arrive, whilst the other half would hide outside the city to flank the enemy once they arrived. Slowly the Royalists approached the city and were overwhelmed by the Federalists, and chaos followed. Almost no one could distinguish each other, and no one knew who was friend or foe. After the bloodbath that was Pali, the Indian Federation had decisively come out on top.
Everyone shut up. Why are we screaming anyways?
What do you mean? We just got our asses kicked again.
Okay, so we can't win the war. Then let's just make peace with the rebels and get back to making some money.
Make peace, sir. Didn't you say that the biggest threat to Pasindia was the rich with golden toilets?
No, I do not recall saying that. And even if I did say that, my toilet is made of diamonds, so I'm better than them.
And so it was. Without any money, both sides agreed to peace. And just like that, the war in India was over. The two southern oligarchs declared their own independence from India soon after, and this was respected by India. The Pacindians would continue to hold out in Indonesia for a few more years, but eventually had to withdraw from there as well. A fine example of the strongest nation in the world for you. Thank you all for watching. I am very happy I started this project, and I hope to do this style of content more in the future. I also think you might have noticed the difference in mapping due to a new style I'm using for that. I hope it sits right with y'all, and please let me know if you'll like it. Anyways, I genuinely hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.